All right, I think we're good to go. Not every day I get to interview New York Times bestselling author, People's 50 Most Beautiful.
That is I? Jesus.
All right, we're gonna run through your entire career. I'm getting every story I've ever wanted to know about Dwyane Wade today. I'm not leaving until I get certain answers. All right,
See
but
what you got.
I'll start with some easy ones. This season, before you came back, there's been reports you had lots of conversations with this guy or this guy. One of them was Spo. Spo, it sounds like he gave you a little nudge to come back. What did he tell you in that conversation?
Yeah, I was, I guess just being an older player. And, last year my role when I was with the Cavs, it changed to where I came off the bench. And then when I came back to Miami, I came off the bench. And, you're not used to that role. And even though I always try to play my role to the best of my ability, I didn't know how much coming into this year, what was the plan? What was be the goal for me coming back? You got all these younger guys who obviously you want to move forward and you want to give them more opportunity and more time. So if I did come back, I didn't want it to be where I come in and 15 minutes a game and it's really not making an impact. And I didn't want to be that guy that's sitting on the bench and the fans got to always chant we won't wait, So
you
I was
didn't want
like,
it to be ceremonial.
I didn't want to be I didn't want to go out like that. I guess I was always thinking about all the reasons why not to come back. And Spo said, how about you think about the reason to come back? And I sat down and thought about it. And once I did, I sat down and thought about giving them, something to take away from this last season, from an old guy, what I can bring every day. And just so they can see someone who's, accomplished in this game and doesn't need anything else from this game and still plays it the way I plays it, still prepares the way I prepare and all these things.
Was there one deciding factor that you were like, I'm going to do it for this?
Yeah, I think for me, I wanted to give my fans a full picture of my career, of ending it where everyone's seen me play at. And I wanted to say goodbye to everybody as much as I can, and I wanted them to say goodbye, and I wanted to say thank you. So I just wanted to give everybody the opportunity. It wasn't just it was my family. I wanted everybody to get an opportunity to say goodbye to this season, this career that we've had together. My team, everybody who's helped me build the Dwyane Wade that everyone knows away from the court. I want to give them an opportunity to, I want to give everybody this opportunity, kind of the Miami Heat, to just say goodbye and to say thank you from both sides. But also want to come in and have a good season too. It was like, do I have enough to be able to give something to the game? And I'm not just going to be out there and like not good enough, because I didn't train the same way in the beginning of the summer that I normally do, because I didn't know if I was going to play. So I was kind of in like a laid-back mode. So it was a lot going through my brain,
So I remember when you first got to Chicago, I had an opportunity to sit down with you then, and I asked you if you thought about the end. And you said, my body will kind of tell me when I'm ready, when my knees are maybe hurting a little bit too much. Now you're still hitting game winners, so you have more dunks than Justice this year. Your body looks good. So what is the reason then? If you could play another year, how do you know that this was the right time?
Well, I could play another year, The role that I'm in, I could play this role at least 2 more years, and I understand that. But for me, it was just like, it's time. Like it's no one really gets to walk away from the game on their, the perfect timing, right? So as an athlete, you think the perfect way to end is to end in a championship. Like I thought in 2006 that Alonzo had the perfect ending. To come back to Miami, we win a championship. I'm like, retire, like that's perfect. And he wanted more. He wanted to keep going. And his career, ended in injury or whatever the case may be, but I just realized at that point that it doesn't end perfect. Like no one's ending for you is perfect, So for me, it was like, you know what? I feel that I have more left, but I don't want to empty it all out. I feel like I've done enough. I've given enough to this game, and now I want to do something else. The passion and joy is not the same as it used to be. Like I want to do so many other things as the season is going on, and I do a lot of things that I've never done before. I'm out there golfing in between games. All kind of things. My mind's not 100% in it. And when I get to that point, it's time for me to move away from this game. I love it. I will always love it, but I'm not 100% in it.
So I want to take you back to early in your career, talking buzz cut, Dwyane Wade.
Oh, Dwyane Wade! Now that's a rookie showcase.
Something that is really fascinating to me as someone who loves the NBA, take a guy like James Harden, for example. Starts off as a sixth man, and you're like, this guy's a really good player. He gets to Houston, and oh, this guy's a star. And then all of a sudden, it's like, wait, he's an unguardable MVP candidate.
Yeah.
I mean, your rookie year, I remember, you're running down the court, you hit the game winner against the Hornets, and we're like, oh, this guy's awesome.
Yeah.
No one knew then you were going to be a Hall of Famer. When did it kind of click for you? Not only do I belong in the NBA, not only can I be a good player in the NBA, I can be a star. I can be one of those franchise guys. When did it click for you?
I think I realized how good I could be in the NBA in that playoff series my rookie year against the Hornets, winning that in 7 and some of the things I did. But the next round against the Pacers, who at the time was a very tough team, and I had even more success versus them. And I was like, wait a minute, like I now have shown myself that I can do it at this level. I have now shown my abilities to be unguardable at times, and all these things. So coming out of that playoffs, like I was like, next year gonna be something. And I didn't know it was next year was gonna have Shaq.
Right?
I didn't know the trade was gonna go down, but I knew that I was gonna take my game to another level because I felt like throughout that year, from the first half of the season to after All-Star break, I felt I kept doing this. And now my confidence started rising. I saw the organization started giving me the ball more. You know what I mean? Like when I first came in my rookie year, it was like, get LO the ball and move out the way. And then it was like, okay, we want Dwyane and LO. Then it was like, hey, get Dwyane the ball and move. I was like, wait a minute. Like everyone is starting to believe. Everyone started to believe in me. So the confidence started coming. I started continuing to put the work in, and I started seeing the work that I was putting in. I started seeing it out on the court. I started seeing it working. So I was like, yo, the sky's the limit.
Okay, speaking of the Shaq trade, I remember I was in Canada and I see like on the bottom line, it's like Shaquille O'Neal's been traded to the Miami Heat.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to tell my brother and he thinks I'm playing a joke on him.
Yeah.
What was the first thing that crossed your mind?
Well, when I heard it, right, it was like little waves, over ESPN. And I was like, no way. You know what I mean? Like I was like, to me, it's a joke. Like it's not, Shaquille O'Neal's not about to get traded from the Lakers it's not happening. Like this is Shaquille O'Neal. This is one of the best players of all time. Like, there's no way it's happening. So I kind of just brushed it off. And I remember where I was when I heard the news came down. And I was out at the ESPYs in LA. And like a couple hours before I was due at the ESPYs, Shaq had got traded to Miami. And I was just like in my room and I was just like, is this real? And I remember when I felt it was real, when I walked on the ESPN, the ESPY red carpet, and before they announced me, they said, Shaquille O'Neal's new teammate, Dwyane Wade, right? And everybody was, I was like, oh my God, I am Shaquille O'Neal's teammate. Like, it was crazy. So that was kind of the moment where it was like, this is real,
Can we just cut out the part where he says ESPYs and replace it with Sports Illustrated Awards?
Cut that out,
what was your first conversation with Shaq? Because we only ever get to see the funny side of him. I'm curious, like, does he call you up and he's like, this is it, man? Like, that was a terrible, but you know what I mean?
No,
like,
definitely. You sound just like him.
Yeah, I appreciate it. Thank you.
You know what? Shaq is who you guys think he is. You know what I mean? He's a fun, silly guy. Obviously, he can turn it on. I mean, he's one of the greatest ever played this game. He can turn it on. He can get angry, but he kept it light. Like my first conversation with him was shortly after that because I was going to the Olympics. I was playing the Olympics at that time, and we got on a quick call, and he just said the same stuff he said to the media, like, hey, this is your team. I'm just here to back you up. I'm here to support you. Like, I'm here to win a championship, and I'm here to make you one of the best players in the world. And that was like our cinema conversation. And my answer was, okay, yes, okay.
So obviously, his first year, you guys probably make it to the finals if you didn't get hurt against the Pistons. And then the next year, they overhaul the team. Pat decides he's going to come in and coach.
Yeah.
That was wild.
Wow.
What was your relationship like with Pat at that time? And you're this young guy, your career's ascending, and all of a sudden this Hall of Famer stepping into the role.
Yeah.
What was that experience like for you? What was your relationship like with him then?
I mean, I just always had a respect for Pat. I mean, I was thankful for him. And obviously the organization for believing in me and drafting me. My rookie year, he was the head coach at first in training camp, and then he stepped down right before the first game of the season. And it kind of hurt me a little bit that he stepped down. It kind of gave me a feel like, damn, he don't believe in me. But I understood later that, it was something that he needed to do, for himself. And then Stan came in, and I enjoyed playing with Stan. As the season went on, he allowed me to grow. And I was comfortable with that. And then when he stepped down, it was like, okay, well, what is going on? Now I'm confused. I don't know what to think. But Pat came in and he was like, listen, our one goal is to get this team playing to its capability. And we all got together for a reason. So I was all in. I said, whatever you need me to do, I'm going to do. I think with Pat's lead and some of the other veteran guys, they gave me a little bit control of the team that I didn't really have at first. I think it was something that Pat seen that needed to happen. Shaq seen it needed to happen. So it was cool. It was cool being on the team with all those veteran guys and watching them say, there you go, young fella, take us there, because we need it.
So something I like to do, like anytime I'm talking to a Heat guy or former Heat guy, you hear so many crazy stories about Pat Riley and what he's willing to do to motivate guys, stick his head in a bucket of ice, I'm only packing one suit to Game 6 of the finals, the 15 strong cards. I'm sure after a while you're like, all right, man, we get it. But early in your career, was there a thing that he did that you're like, oh man, like that one really got me going. That one was actually like a truly great motivational tactic.
I mean, the sticking his head in underneath the water was definitely one of the tactics that I thought was, like when he was in the locker room when he was doing it, I remember just us looking around like, this guy is crazy. He's insane. And he stayed down there what it felt like eternity. And when he got up, his message was, you know, if you don't want to win that bad, you know what I mean? Like, is that next breath that you wanted to get out of that water? If you don't want to win that bad, then what are you here for? You know what I'm saying? And like, for me, it was like, damn. It was like, that's how bad that I should want to win, as bad as my next breath, you know? Because we watched him down, and I'm like, is he going to come up? Like, is he going to breathe? And you could see him struggling in the water, like with his head down. So like things like that, you had no other choice but to come out here and like give whatever you can. Like that's the school that myself and Udonis, we grew up in. Like that's the culture we grew up in. So we had no other choice but to come out here and give it all.
The '06 finals, I was in India, and I remember my brother and I were waking up at 5:30 in the morning to watch these games. You guys go down 0-2, and like, oh no, my uncle's
You think it's
like,
over?
I was like, my uncle's like, they're definitely gonna lose now. And you're down 13 in game 3. I was like, it's not looking good. And then, you know, you put on ESPN, who we don't mention, ranked it, once ranked it the greatest finals performance of all time. And it was on another level.
Wade to the basket.
Wade, tough shot, got it with 2.8 seconds left.
Beautiful drive, Dwyane Wade. 2006 Miami Heat. Miami Heat.
Congratulations, 2006 MVP, Dwyane Wade.
And now sometimes people look back and they kind of want to chip at it a little bit. Did that talk ever kind of hurt you, that you had this amazing achievement in your career and it felt like some people, whether they were just not Heat fans or whatever the reason, were like, oh, well, the refs helped him out?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, of course, early on. You know, when you're a young player, you know how hard you work to accomplish something that is the hardest thing to accomplish. You know, and obviously in sports, is to win a championship. And, you know, for me, that was the biggest moment at that time in my basketball life, of what I was able to accomplish and how I was able to do it. So yeah, of course, people taking shots and saying all these things. Yeah, it affected me early, and it made me start saying and doing things that I normally don't do, because I was like protecting, you know, us or protecting myself. And when it comes to even the stuff that was said back and forth between us and Dallas and with me and Dirk, it's just a protection thing you go into, because, you know, we worked hard as hell to get that finals, and it wasn't easy to come back down, you know, to come back from 0-2 and down 13 in game 3 and be able to win in the fashion we won in. So yeah, I did. But ultimately I grew up, and I grew to not care, you know, and understand that, you know, each season or each opportunity you get, they all gonna be different. And you don't care how you win it, you just care that you win it. You know, I've seen people who got to the finals before and they haven't come away with the championship. And I think for me at that time, that was my mentality, was you don't get here often. You know, last year I thought we was going to the finals, I got hurt, you know, and we didn't make it to the finals. So this time we here, I'm about to give y'all everything I got. I'm not, my famous quote, I'm not going out like that. I wasn't gonna go out like that. I felt like it was we was disrespecting our city, our crowd, our home fans, of not putting on a performance that they deserve. So I was like, you know what? I'm gonna do a little something about it, and luckily I was able to do something about it.
Jumping ahead a tiny bit, 2008 to 2010, there was a case that you were the best player in the world. I thought you were the best basketball player in the world. Everyone knows you deserve the 2009 MVP. Everyone who's watching us right now, they know it. When you look back on it now, does it ever bother you that those 2 years when you were at the peak of your career, it felt like you guys, instead of focusing on you, were waiting to build this other thing?
I don't look back at it now, but at the time I did. Like, you know, at the time I had conversations with the organization about that, and I understand they had to play their own patient game, but I understand also as an athlete, you don't have many of these prime years, so I definitely did. Like, I felt like I was wasting, you know, some of my best years, and that's why, I don't know if everybody remember, but that's why I came out after that 2010
Celtics series.
Yeah, the playoffs, and I said that this will be my last first round exit, and I didn't know where I was going to be, but I knew that feeling was I couldn't keep doing that. I couldn't keep playing and get knocked out in the first round. I felt I was too good for that, and I needed to be surrounded with, you know, teammates that can help me get to that level. So that was my mentality going into the summer, was I'm gonna make sure that, you know, I'm a part of something that's special and it can last for a while.
We got to get into the Big 3 era now a little bit. Now listen, Dwyane, you're on your way out, all right? What you say here today, It doesn't matter anymore, okay? It just doesn't matter.
It doesn't matter, no.
You can't get in trouble for it. Just consider it
I'm gonna tell you the truth,
diplomatic
whatever
immunity,
it
all right?
is.
Can you just tell me once and for all, please, when you guys decided to play together? When did you know? Just give me a timeline. Just give me a sequence of events.
I didn't. So I've answered this question before, and
I know
talked
you
about it.
have, but I never believed it was the truth.
Listen, I have no reason not to tell the truth.
Okay.
I sit here and I never thought that I would be playing with LeBron. If you would have asked me in 2008, what's the percentage you and LeBron playing together in the NBA? 0.0 percentage, right?
Okay.
So it didn't happen in 2008. I think what 2008 did for players, and as you see now with the Olympics, it allows players to look and see and understand that they can play with other star players. But without even thinking about it, it's just something that happens. Like, you like that. You like playing with other talented, good players. But literally, it did not happen until the summer of 2010.
Okay. So is it like, did he text you? Did he call you?
No, it was a call that myself, my agent, him and his agent was on. We all got on the call, and the call was about what the Miami Heat was doing.
Right.
LeBron has seen that the Heat was trying to figure out a way to be able to clear enough money to be able to bring in 2 to 3 max players. So that was a conversation. Was, hey, look what you see what the Heat is doing, and I said, yeah, I see. Like, what you thinking? And he said, he gave me a little information about same thing that I was feeling about, losing to Boston, that he didn't want to do that no more. And it was kind of like, all right, well, we're going to keep our eye on what everybody's doing and we'll talk again. And that's kind of how it happened. And then the next conversation was, in person about, you think you want to play together? And it kind of went from there.
When you were watching the decision, was there any part of you that was nervous the words Cleveland were going to come out of his mouth?
I didn't know what was going to come out. I was actually a little nervous, even though, going into that, we all had left each other from the meeting, me, him, and Chris, and we all talked about, okay, this is what we're going to do. But also, everybody still went back to their home, they went back to their family, and you don't know what's going to change in that process. Miami was my city, so it was easy for me to say, I'm coming back to Miami. But it wasn't an easy decision for him to make. So I'm sitting there watching it just like everybody else. Like, even though I know a little bit, I haven't talked to him in like 4 or 5 days before that. So I don't know if something changed. And, when he said, take the talent to South Beach, I was like this like everybody else. I was like, yeah. Because I knew that we were about to embark on something special. I didn't know what it was going to be, but I knew it was about to be something special. And I knew it wasn't going to be no more first-round exits for me. So I was happy about it.
Be honest now. Your expectations for that season had to be wild, right? You had to think, we're winning 75 games, we're about to break some records. Be honest, what was your...
I wasn't thinking like that.
What was the expectation, though? What did you think was going to happen?
No, I just thought we was going to be a problem, and I thought we was going to be a championship caliber team. And that was it. Like, when you're on stage, you're having fun, and you're in front of your fans, and, obviously at that time, we signed a 6-year deal, with each other. Obviously with 4-year opt-out, but at that time, you like, man, we have an opportunity to win every year.
Right, yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, we put together 3 guys that can help take us to the finals every year. And, the NBA is that good where you don't win it every time. So we was able to get 2 out of it. But I was just thinking about the dominance. At the time, it's not a lot of teams that got 2 great defenders. So who's guarding you? Who's guarding me? Like, that's going to be unguardable. That's going to be unstoppable. We're going to have so much fun. So just as, like, grown men, but, like, kids inside, I was just thinking about the fun we was going to have,
Wade to James. Alley-oop to Wade. Oh, Wade to James. Putting ahead for Wade. There he goes. Oh!
Now that is as good as it gets.
Did you think you were the best player on the team that first year?
Yes.
That's cool as hell. All right, so did I. That first year was, nothing in the NBA will ever be like that again. When you look back on that now, like, what's the thing that you remember that you're like, man, if people understood this, they'd realize how crazy this year was for us?
I mean, it was crazy from the standpoint of, we played this game and, LeBron James, Dwyane Wade, and Chris, like, everyone's loved individually, right? From what they've done, high school, college, whatever, NBA, we've all celebrated. And then it all turned into, like, like everywhere we went, it was like people looked at us different. Obviously fans talked to us a lot different. And the coverage behind it, which we was okay with, which we knew it was going to come. We knew it was going to be a spotlight on it. But I think it was the hatred part of it that really got to us a little bit in that first year. Because, we got guys who just love playing the game of basketball and who wanted to do it together. And we wasn't the first ones that wanted to play together. This game has so many Hall of Famers play together before. So I think we was a little taken back by, all the negative attention that it came with it. And I think we started to feel like, if this is what they want, this is what they're going to get. Kind of mentality. And that was a tough way to play basketball. You know what I mean? Like, with the whole weight of the world on your shoulders. So we going to show them.
And you did for a while.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, but that wasn't fun.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, the best thing that happened to us, but you never want to say it because we lost, but losing that finals to Dallas, the best thing that happened to us. Because if we didn't and we won, oh man, I don't know what we'd have done. We'd have been so
Right.
out of our mind because of the hate and because of how we was playing. It would have been like a middle finger up to everybody. And that's not who I am. That's not who he is. That's not who Chris is. And I'm glad that we didn't win that because we didn't need to have that mentality.
Okay, you stole my next question. Was losing the 2011 finals the best thing that happened to the Big Three? It was right on my list. So
It was. And let me go back too. So when LeBron was in Cleveland and we had our matchups, like we're both fighting to become the next best in this game, right? And I think it took me to get around him, to play with him, before I knew how great he was. That's why I was able to turn the team over, because I understood. I was like, oh wait, he can do things and go places that I can't. I seen it and I knew it. And that's what made me say, I gotta give him the reins if we're gonna be successful. So yeah, when he first got here, I'm like, I feel like I'm the best in the game. And then when I got around him, I'm like, oh, this another level.
Yeah.
And it's not taking anything away from my greatness. It's just, I knew it was another level.
So I want to just go back to one particular moment in the 2011 finals. It must have been that corner over there. You hit a three. You guys were up like 15 or something
Yeah, we
in the
went up
fourth
15.
quarter. Yeah. In that moment when you hit that shot and it looks like you guys are about to get that 2-0 lead, what was going through your mind?
Making plays and keeping this crowd involved. Unselfish play, just like pool. 3-ball corner pocket. Take a picture, Dwyane Wade.
Nothing, just like any other big shot you make, you know what I mean? Like this game 2 of the finals, we up 15 at home after we won game 1. And it's just any other big shot, it's a big shot. And everybody has some kind of celebration.
Right.
And, you know, they was going into a timeout, and I remember just walking back with my hand up, and Brian came up to me.
Wade, the corner. That's good. 3-pointer from Dwyane Wade. And the Heat have blown this game open.
But it's no different than Jason Terry doing the jet every time he go down the court.
Well,
it's no different. You know, everybody made it like, oh, this is the reason Dallas came back.
Yeah.
If that's the reason they came back, then they shouldn't have been in the finals. That's not the reason they came back.
Well, I'm more so curious if for you there was just like an extra level of we're really showing guys now. If there was like that extra level.
Yeah, definitely, because you're at the biggest stage.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like, this is why we came together. And like, I was balling. Like, you know what I mean?
We
Like,
should have won MVP.
I was balling.
Yeah.
Like, I think that game I had like 38. I was balling, so I felt good about myself too. I'm in the finals. This is the reason we came together. So yeah, we showing why we should be here. But quickly things change.
Yeah. One of the more famous stories of your career is after the 2011 finals, you realize I got to turn this team over to Bron. Again, something I'm fascinated by. Do you call him up on the phone? It's like, I got to tell you something. Do you invite him out? How do you initiate a conversation like that?
We went on vacation shortly after the season. My wife, myself, him and his wife. First time we seen each other since we lost in the finals. And we just needed to like get away from it. I remember just being there and just talking about everything. And I remember just sitting around there with my wife and talking about everything and just thinking, you know, even leading up to that time, what can I do next year to be better, right? That's the goal. And I knew that it wasn't what I did on the court, because I did have a hell of a year and I had a hell of a finals. So I knew it had to be something else. So I just sat back and like I said, I watched him up close. I knew he can go to a level that I couldn't go to. You know what I mean? I knew he was younger. I knew that he can do things that no one else can do. Just point blank, period. And I also wanted to take a little bit of that, him looking over his shoulder mentality away and just allow him to play. You know what I mean? And just have freedom to say, listen, go ahead, bro. Be your great self, and we will all figure out how to be great around you. And just kind of lessen a little bit of that burden for him. Because I had won a championship already. You know what I mean? So I didn't have to prove that necessarily, even though I still wanted to win. I already proved that I can do that. He was in that process of trying to prove to himself and to the world that he's one of the greatest to play this game, and the greats win championships, right? And he wanted to do that, and he had to prove that. And so I allowed him to step back and allow him to prove it.
Would you say there was one moment that you came to that realization?
Losing.
Losing?
That Dallas series hurt. Going to finals and losing sucks. You're ready to get knocked out in the first round. Like, it sucks. So I think I realized that when we sat down and we all talked about coming together and playing together, our message to each other was all I care about is winning championships. So once I sat back and thought about, we're in this together. No one is going nowhere, at least for 4 years. We got to figure this out. And because this is my organization, this was my team, it was on me to figure it out.
2 years later, I remember after Game 7 of the 2013 finals, you guys win, second in a row. and after the game you're pouring champagne on your knees. It seemed like those years really took a toll on your body, and then it was at times hard to watch you play because it was like, this guy can't move like he used to.
Yeah.
Can you now finally talk about like how bad shape were your knees in at that point in your life?
Oh, it was terrible. I was going through so much stuff. I was going through stuff I had no idea about, right? You know, it kind of started with me with doing that run we had where we won 27 straight. You remember that?
Mm-hmm.
Well, in the process of that run, I got a bone bruise, right?
Right.
I got a bone bruise in my right knee. Then in that same process, I got a bone bruise on the outside of this knee, right? So I was dealing with bone bruise, irritation underneath the kneecap. That was just in my right knee. My left knee, I've had 3 surgeries on my left knee. I'm dealing with swelling, I'm dealing with arthritis, I'm dealing with everything. So now I'm dealing with both of them. And I'm still out there competing, I'm still out there trying to do what I can, but I'm not myself. So to be able to still help my team win the championship, still have moments, it was great. But I was in pain and I was hurting. And that moment when you guys see me pour that, I was just so thankful that they got me through. But I didn't know how much I had left. You know, and that third finals was for me was like, I don't know how much basketball I have left. Because if I got to still go through this kind of pain, then I don't know if I'm going to keep wanting to play. My whole mentality was, well, let me try to play one more season. And if it doesn't go the way, if I don't get any better from it, if I keep going through the same pain, I'm going to walk away from the game. Luckily, things changed. And like, it's crazy to be 37 now and to feel better than I did when I was 31, 32. You know, it's crazy.
I just have one last big 3 question. I talk to a lot of people. I'm like, what are you most interested to know about Dwyane Wade? And a lot of them ideas, but one common thing everyone wants to know, like, well, how does he really feel about when LeBron left? I believe you. Like, I believe what you've said about it in the past. You know, you didn't want to affect his decision. You wanted to be a friend. I'm more curious, where does that sense of loyalty come from?
But that sense of loyalty is in me, period. Mm-hmm. It's not just for LeBron. It's for everyone around me that's in my life. So it's a gift and a curse to have that. You know what I mean? Like, you can get hurt, you can get your feelings hurt by having loyalty. And I've experienced it in a lot of different ways, but when it came to LeBron deciding to go back to Cleveland, you gotta know who someone is, right? I know who LeBron is. I know that conversation with me was probably one of the most uncomfortable conversations he had to have. And I know he wanted to have it earlier. I knew we was in Vegas together, I seen that it was something he wanted to say, but it was hard for him to say it.
Let me ask a big picture question. When you guys came together in 2010, I think it kind of paved the way for, I don't think Kevin Durant joins the Warriors if LeBron never joined the Heat. Do you kind of take stock of the influence that team had on how the league has worked since?
We do, we know. We knew at the time. We knew that we was gonna be changing the landscape of the NBA. You know what I mean? Did we know KD was gonna go to state? No, but we knew that we was gonna be changing the landscape. So, yeah. I think everybody knows that year kind of changed the mentality of players a little bit. And that's something that we are proud of because we're proud of putting the power in the players' hands because that was done by us. I can't say before that it wasn't power in the players' hands, but I feel like from that moment on, the players have had so much more power.
What are you going to do the first day you retire?
First day when the season is over, I'm going to be recovering from the night before.
What are you most nervous about retirement?
I just been doing this, playing basketball since I was 5 years old. So this is what I know. Like, my body knows this schedule. My mind knows this schedule. It's tough to walk away from something that you've been great at for a long time.
Oh, Dwyane Wade, he gets a highlight reel dunk.
Maybe not the greatest, but I've been great at basketball my whole life. In some way, some capacity. I've been better than most.
Wade puts it up for the win! Yeah, baby!
And I'm about to enter a world where I'm not better than most in a lot of areas, and it's tough. But that's something else, that's a competitive part of me that wants to get to that, to see if I can move up, just like I did in basketball, and become one of the greats at whatever I do.
Awesome. D. Wade, thank you so much, man.
As always.
Appreciate it.